restarted the video again.
Oh, there's this little cross here and these columns.
That's a United Methodist. Apparently they're in a mess at the moment. They said at church, but I'm not sure why. But something's gone wrong somehow.
I'm pretty sure they're the one whose religion is split in half. Because half of it went woke and the other half is trying to remain traditional.
Yeah.
So you've got half the people who are like very anti-LGBT and the other half are very pro. Because there's that one little line in the Bible about men not being with men or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's another one we better stop. But it's a shame though. No, at least I know why it happens now. Anyway. Hi. Hi. Yeah. There's the church office. That must have been somebody's house at some time though.
Yeah. Maybe it was the pastor's house.
Yeah, you never know. If it was a really old church, might have been. I don't know where the Methodists came from. I don't know whether they were a Scottish church or not.
No, they're one of the American ones that sprang up during the Great Awakening in the turn of the century. A lot of these ones basically...
Was that around about 1800?
Yeah, 1800.
Because there was a whole load of them.
There was a huge explosion of religious fervor during the early frontier days as they colonized Appalachia and the Mississippi Valley. And they had a lot of traveling preachers wandering around, and it caused several new branches of Christianity to pop up.
Yeah, and they all fought each other. That was one thing Joseph Smith ran into trouble with, because he was around at that time as a young man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there were a lot of religions like Mormonism springing up overnight. It's basically a religious fervor gripped the country, and everybody just went a little crazy with it.
Yeah, because I think he lived in New York State somewhere originally.
Yeah, he lived in upstate New York. A lot of them came out of New England, surprisingly enough.
Because when Brigham...
The guy who invented Kellogg's cereal, he was a Quaker and he was absolutely nuts. He invented his cereals because he thought that full English breakfasts were too greasy, and grease was caused by the devil.
Oh, God.
And burning your food, because they cook it over an open fire, and burning your food was also sin, because hell was supposed to be hot and full of flames. So he wanted people to have uncooked food. That is absolutely crazy. I think the cereal was invented to stop people from masturbating or something.
Oh God, don't say that on a video.
The guy was absolutely nuts.
Don't say that on the video. Hey, how you doing? Probably have to cut that out.
Oh, sorry.
Interestingly enough though, Kellogg's was a perfect cereal for the railroads when they were building, because all they had to do was keep it dry and supply something. And I guess there was dairies.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I do actually. I was walking over there just to take a look at it. I have a feeling the traffic's about to start. Maybe not. This one is St. Peter's. There's a lot of churches. These are supposed to be the ones that are the closest to Church of England, I was told when I came here.
Oh, Episcopal?
Episcopalian.
Oh, Episcopal.
It's one of those.
I can never pronounce that frickin' word.
I know, it's an interesting word.
Alien.
Huh. Yeah, if you ask what religion most people are in England, well, in the old days they would have said Church of England. Now it could be anything.
Yeah, actually most people would say atheist or agnostic.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, it's become a bit of a godless place, unfortunately.
Yeah. then the Church of England has had as many scandals as the Catholic Church, and the same variety, so it's not surprising that people lost their faith.
I think it was after World War II. If you look back, a lot of that happened in the 50s.
Oh yeah, true.
And even Quebec, which was
getting shot at all the time, almost dying, and not seeing the pearly gates in St. Peter could make a man lose his faith.
They must have thought God had turned away from them.
Well, a lot of people thought that during World War I. They thought it was God's curse on mankind, coming of the second plague, that instead of sending crickets or whatever he sent during Egypt, he'd send war to finish us off.
The worst thing was, somebody told the Austrians that if they took over Bosnia after the Turks left, that it would destroy them, and it did.
Yep.
And they didn't listen.
Well, they've always been a fiery and disagreeable people. Nobody's ever been able to keep them in line.
Well, the Austrians?
No, the Bosnians.
Oh, the Bosnians. I thought you meant the Austrians.
Well, them
Rampage.
too.
Actually, Vienna has saved Europe from total conquest twice. The Mongols got stuck at the gates of Vienna because they did their usual trick. They got to Vienna and they were outside the city walls, and they were pretty impregnable. And they said, the people came out to see the Mongols, and they said, if you come out, you'll all be spared, otherwise we'll kill you all. And the Austrians said, we're not coming out. And they weren't used to that. And then while they were still arguing, they actually sieged the city for a few months, and then the Mongol emperor died, and so they left and went back home for the but if they hadn't stopped them there, they would have overrun the whole of Europe, because he told them to keep marching till they got to the ocean, which would have been the French coast.
Almost made it.
And then the Turks, or the Ottomans, when they were on their way there, the Ottoman cannon would have breached the walls, but the cannons got bogged down on the way. So they survived to fight another time. But when they arrived in Serbia, I think I told you the Renaissance started in Serbia originally, and then they arrived in 1338, and I remember reading this science fiction book or story written by this Serbian guy once, and he was talking about the king who was there in, I guess we'll go back down now. He was talking about the king who was there in 1338, and he was switching between 1338 and the modern era, or another era, and the story was basically about the king being asleep at the wheel, sort of thing, and he should have beaten the Ottomans, but he didn't, because he made mistakes. I don't know whether he went hunting on the way to meet them, or but somehow, although he had the superior force, he lost, and that was it. The Ottomans overran Serbia, and that was the gateway into Europe for them.
Do you remember who wrote it? That sounds like an interesting story.
I don't remember. I was only about 15 when I read that story. So just a kid, basically. And I've never heard of a Serbian writer, actually. There's plenty of foreign ones, but I don't remember ever hearing of a Serbian one. So I don't know anything about him. It might be worth Googling it. You might find it now.
Google it later.
I mean, when I was 15, it was hard to follow, but it might be a real easy one now to see what he was getting at. Because Clifford D. Simak is a bit like that. I read his book, Way Station, when I was about 15, and didn't get as much out of it as I did when I read it later. And that's one of the real classic science fiction stories. We should probably cross over because we already did this side. You okay?
Glasses away.
Ah, right.
Dark all of a sudden.
Yeah.
The sun's going down.
Go over there and do the new side.
I'm getting eaten alive too.
Really? I'm not noticing anything actually, but doesn't mean they're not there.
I'm going to sit down for a minute.
Sure. You know, I do remember when I was here before, when I got further down the street, probably about this time it started. They came out suddenly. Yeah, I just felt one on my arm. It's probably a little midge type thing. Yeah. The ones that give you the tiniest little bite, but you're still aware it's happening. Excuse me. There's one of the ubiquitous golf carts. Oh no, it's a different couple. You know, in Nocatee, you can buy a house and get a free golf cart. It's part of the deal.
Oh wow.
They do that to try and sell houses, which is absolutely crazy. Then you have a bunch of idiots driving around in golf carts.
That's better than back in the 80s when they used to give you a free gun.
Did they do that?
Yep, they used to do that. Sign at the bank, you get a free gun and a toaster. Or
Oh, when
like
you
that.
open an account?
Yeah.
Wow. A little bit different than in the UK.
Yeah.
In the UK...
I'd hate to see the UK if they ever legalized guns. It'd be a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
You'd see how self-restrained Americans actually are with their
Yeah.
Second Amendment rights.
I've said to Americans before, you know, if the British had guns, there'd be
The
people
country
shot
would
at traffic lights all the time.
Yeah, the country would be over in a fortnight from all the people
Yeah.
shooting.
It would all be, you know, well, Nottingham's done quite well. They've only had 22 murders in the last hour, so it's been quite calm today.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would not be able to control themselves at all. Oops.
Ooh, you okay?
They've got a few nice little antique stores around
Yeah,
here.
they do actually. I didn't realise that was. I thought it was a restaurant at first. Look at that. I'll bring you back sometime and we can have a look
We'll
through.
come up here another time and just go
Yeah.
to a few of these stores.
I know you love those places.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy walking through them with you actually.
Oh, okay.
You know, I never was that interested in them as for myself, but when you and I have gone, you know, like look at that car, for
Look at this
example.
little bathtub.
Yeah, that's, you know, they have a lot of those kind of things in Switzerland outside I see that on a lot of Swiss videos. I wonder how old this thing is. It's
I
not
know.
that rusty to say its age either, look at
Yeah.
it. Especially in an
Something
area
the
like
20 or
this.
30s, but I'm not really sure. I don't know old cars that well.
No. Especially in an area like this, there's got to be a lot of salt in the air here. Yeah, look at that van, which is a lot younger,
Yeah.
and there's more rust on the van than there is on the car. Wow. But then they could build them in those.